things I went through when I was going through a spiritual awakening that you might be going through, but I didn't know what the fuck it was, so you may or may not know what the fuck it is. So when I went through my very first spiritual awakening, I remember crying in a Taco Bell parking lot to my mother saying, I don't think I'm crazy, I feel like I sense things and then they happen, I don't know what it is, it's really bothering me that I don't know what it is, I'm having incredible deja vu, I feel like I've been here before. I just broke down to her. She was there, she was supporting me, you know, I grew up as a Christian and she's never been the judgmental type of Christian, so she was there, she was listening to me. I found out that it was a spiritual awakening because I ran into another psychic who was going through a spiritual awakening, and she told me that I was developing psychic gifts. And I didn't necessarily know what it was going to be exactly. All I knew was that it was going to be a very big thing of foresight. Foresight was a very main gift that I have. And with the deja vu, I was very extremely emotional. So this was before I got all of my chakras balanced, grounded. This was before all of that. So I was like a fucking, like, what's the best way I could put it? I was like a fucking racquetball. I was going everywhere. Emotionally, I was extremely sensitive to my environment. At the time, I had a lot of toxicity around me. Whenever I was around them, to them, it probably seemed like I was just shut off, withdrawn, and I just didn't want to talk to them, when in reality, I was absorbing all of their toxicity and I was becoming fucking drained. And, you know, I keep in mind that obviously I found out those people were toxic and I got rid of them. But in a time where you're so vulnerable because you don't know what the fuck is happening to you and just senses are happening, it's like your body is becoming more aware without you realizing that it's becoming more aware. With that, after I found out what it was, I remember I wanted to get more into it, and at the same time I was still a little hesitant to get close to my spirit guides because I had always grown up that witchcraft was bad, that, oh, if you read cards, oh, guess what, that's bad. Or like, oh, you know, you're into palm reading, oh, bad. And the thing is that I respect everybody's beliefs, and actually I have a friend, Marnez, who's on here, and she's amazing. She's literally an amazing Christian, and I love her with all my heart. And I think that we're proof that a Christian and a witch can't coexist. So shout out to you, Marnez, love you. But yeah, so at the time it was just very hard. I remember I started asking my spirit guides questions, like quieting my mind, seeing what I got. And at the time I was very doubtful, and I didn't necessarily understand that if it was them or if it was me, because a lot of my fellow witches and a lot of my fellow light workers went through the same thing, where it's like, is it me or you, spirit? Like, how do I know that's not just me? You know what I mean? And I heard another creator on here talk about how the difference between your intuition and not being intuition is that intuition is uncomfortable. Oh man, when I tell you discomfort was literally this was like the era of my life. I'm not joking. I was very fucking uncomfortable. But so I slowly started talking more to them, and whenever I would doubt, I would ask a million fucking questions, I would ask the same question multiple fucking times just to be sure. And I would ask, is it me or is it you, spirit? And whenever I got it was you, I knew it was just me, or my insecurities disguised as intuition, you know, fears disguised as intuition. So, you know, it was very, you know, you kind of have to balance that out a little bit and kind of, you know, build that discernment with yourself, but also bond with your spirit team. You know, I didn't just go straight into doing spells. No, like I created a bond that was genuine, that I knew would last, that I knew would help me. And I remember I gave my very first reading to a coworker on February 4th of 2022. And it was my very first reading. I remember I was extremely nervous because I was like, I don't want to get anything wrong. Like, I want to be able to help her. And to be completely honest with you guys, this was part of the First Awakening. I would say it's the second half of the First Awakening that I was telling you guys about. And I remember I was so fucking nervous, you guys. And she really needed clarity. She really needed guidance on something. And I really wanted to help her, but I just didn't want to give her any wrong info. And to a lot of people, you know, I would recommend making sure that you're comfortable before you throw yourself in, like I did. But ultimately it did work in my favor because, oh my god, that day, February 4th of 2022 was fucking life-changing, you guys. And oh my god, I'm getting chills. I went to the park to help this girl give her reading. I had just gotten my cards because I had always felt drawn to cards, but again, had never touched them. You know, they're so bad. I got my cards and they found me. My cards found me. I was shopping at Five Below with my boyfriend and he brought these up to me and he was like, hey, look, you know, they're tarot cards. And I was like, oh my god, I was literally thinking about these. I was thinking about cards in general. These cards were not the Rider-Waite. They were like they were like astronomy cards. And so they didn't have clear imagery, nothing like that. So I really did just throw myself in, if you really think about it. But at the same time, when I got to the park, she was telling me some stuff about her situation and I was immediately getting downloads. It was the first time I had really experienced my body being a vessel of a message from the divine. And I have chills because I remember, oh my god, if I could just go back and be like, if I could travel and tell myself from that time anything, I would just be confident in yourself. Don't fucking doubt yourself. You got this. Because when I went to the park, crows started go swarming on the tree next to me. And you know what? I used to live in California in this time. So, and I grew up being scared of birds because of a nightmare I had about crows when I was 2 years old, which I vividly remember. It's one of the reasons why I have memory that young, is because of that nightmare. But when I tell you the crows were on my side here, they were and they were caw, caw, like they were just like going off, and I had started shuffling the cards and I was like, oh, like I feel this presence. It's very strong, and I could tell the person, her spirit team, was helping me get the messages through to her. In the reading, stuff came out that she had never told a soul, like nobody. The closest people to her, and I have children now, the closest people to her didn't know anything about this. And it came out in this reading of my very first reading that I have ever given anybody else. I was fucking shocked. I was fucking mind blown. And when I say this with my jaw full fuckingly dropped. Like, I still can't believe it. Like, it's like, whoa. Like, even till this day, you guys, even now when I'm like more pro at what I do, even now I'm still kind of like, oh my god, like little did I know. But yeah, like I did a very, very good job. And I went home that night and I was like telling my boyfriend, I understand why everything had to play out the way it did. Like, I understand now. I remember specifically repeating this over and over again. I understand now. And he was very, very impressed, very happy for me. And I could tell, because I'm my number one fan, but he's my number one fan. You know what I mean? Like, he's always there for me. He's always hyping me up. He's always there to support whatever crazy idea I have. But this was something fucking different. This was something else. And yeah, he was there with me. But yeah, you guys, like, sometimes the spiritual awakenings can be very, like, it's like you don't even know where it's taking you. And honestly, everybody's awakening is completely different. But one thing I do know is my fellow light workers know exactly what I mean when it's like you're trying to channel something and you ask a bunch of times at the very beginning of your journey to see, is it me or you? Is it me or you? And yeah, so that was definitely things that I went through. It got to the point where I couldn't have toxic people around me. Like, we all kind of just, like, me and my group, my peers, the ones that really do have my back, they were going through the similar things as me. Not exactly quite the same, but very similar. So, you know, it got to the point where we couldn't keep that toxicity around. And with that, I felt safer to grow, and I continued to grow, and now I'm here today. But, you know, if you're going through a spiritual awakening and you're having a lot of deja vu, you know, you can't sleep, you're getting super emotional, you know, and you start losing people, or you feel like you're outgrowing certain people, chances are you're probably going through a spiritual awakening, and it's hard. It's so fucking emotionally turmoily hard. But you get through it, and it feels so fucking liberating. Let me know if you want a part 2 on this one, but also I have some more stories I gotta tell you guys.